Welcome everyone to this short video where me and other YouTubers will predict the Geoguessr World Cup results.
My prediction for the World Cup winner is Blinky. I think the Blinky suits the format the best and has come incredibly far on no moving and NMPZ, and therefore I think that he is the most likely to win. I don't think it's anywhere near a guarantee, but I think he is the best choice.
For me, I think it's gonna be Radu. I think he's the most overall consistent player, and I'm rooting for him for sure.
I'm gonna go with Radu C.
From my perspective, I don't really have a clear and confident answer because I feel like there's quite a few participants that have an equal chance. If I had to break it down, I would probably say Blinky, Konzus, Radu are the ones that stand out the most to me. I'm also quite interested in how Bag and Crux do because I feel like it's the first time, but I feel like those lads have got a lot of natural ability and have got a lot of potential to be up there competing for it. But if I had to choose one between Blinky, Konzus, Radu, I would go with Konzus.
Question one is, who do I think is going to win the World Cup? And I think, in my opinion, Radu is going to win the World Cup. Bros the GOAT, nothing else to say, really. He's just very good. And yeah, that's that.
I don't know if it's possible, but I would say Onsus, Blinky, Debray, and RC.
When I did some predicting through the bracket, the four semi-finalists I ended up having was Konzus, Blinky, Radu, and MK.
I think Blinky is gonna be a semi-finalist, and then the other one from the left half is pretty difficult. I'm gonna go with Debray here. And then I think the other semi-finalists from the other half will be Radu and Kirania. There's other good ones on the other side as well, but I think Kirania just has the edge of being good in all modes over, for example, MK or Gingy. So I think that Kirania can actually make the semi-finals.
Who are the four semi-finalists? I choose Blinky, Konsus, Radu, and Kirania. I think these are the four most fundamental players across the formats, but there's a lot of room for changing in there.
I think they will, of course, be Radu from, winning the whole thing, will, of course, be in the semi-final. Bag, Blinky, and MK, I think, will be the semi-finalists.
Who will win their groups? So I think Group A, Blinky is going to win it, although I can see Finbarr and Constance also winning it. Group B, I'm going to go with a little surprise pick and say that Crux is going to take Group B. Although, I mean, it's not really surprising. The group is really open. I think most players in there could take it. Group C is going to go to Radu. Pretty sure about that. For Group D, I'm going with MK Person.
For me, this is impossible to predict, but if I had to choose a winner based off what I've seen and my experience playing with these participants, I will choose Konzus for Group A, Debray for Group B, Radu for Group C, and MK for Group D.
Question 3 was about who is going to win each of the groups, and I think that it's going to be the same people that won the or that make it to the semi-finals, like I said earlier, which will be Radu, Bag, Blinky, and MK. But I think maybe Contis might win Group A instead of Blinky because it's best of 3, which I think favors Contis slightly more, but in best of 5, I think Blinky is very, very good with moving involved in the thing.
In Group A, I decided to go with Consus, although it could be Blinky as well. In Group B, I will go for Debray, but it will be very contested. I feel like anyone can really take it. Group C, Radu C makes sense to me. And in Group D, I also am very undecided. I'm between Eamon, MK. I don't know, maybe Fungus can take it as well, but I decided to go for MK.
So I think Konsus will win Group A, despite my prediction that Blinky would win the whole thing. I think Topotic would win Group B. I think Radu would win Group C. And I think MK Person would win Group D.
I think I'm going to say Oscar for that. Bro has been playing moving a lot. knows area codes, Cabu Pattern, Philly provinces just way more than he did last year. And he's also stepped up the no-move game, such as lining up things with the compass. And yeah.
Who is the most improved player that played at the last World Cup? I think it's me. You could make probably a good argument for Blinky or Radu, or maybe some other players too. But personally, I think I am the most improved.
There's not that many people that were at the last World Cup that didn't perform well there as well. So I'm just going to go with Jake Lyons.
So I think the most improved player skill-wise for this year is Zigzag compared to last year. But he has like a really difficult path to make it far. So I think position-wise, because Zigzag made it to the knockout game last year, I think position-wise actually, I'm gonna go with like a little, maybe hot take. I think Kodiak, who didn't practice at all, will make it a lot further than last year, because last year he had a lot of bad luck, and I think this year it's gonna be the opposite. And yeah, I hope that Kodiak maybe can even reach the knockouts or day 2 even.
I would say that Zigzag definitely fits into this bracket, and for me, it is very clear that he's been putting a lot of grinding in, and also being put in the right type of grinding in for the stuff he needs to be more prepared for when it comes to the World Cup. And this stuff also helped him get through the regionals, which was a very tough group he was in. And history may repeat itself, especially in this group B, which is definitely the group of death. And I feel like he's definitely got a good chance with how much preparation and grinding he's been putting in.
In my opinion, it's Crooksed. In terms of, I'm also talking about improvement over the last year. But if you're talking about like just best straight up, probably Bag or MK.
There is a lot of new players, so it's hard to pick who is the best out of them, but I would say bad at Geoguessr.
The players that stand out the most to me will be Finn, MK, Bag, and Crooks. And it's very interesting because if I go off like pure natural ability and raw talent, I would probably say Bag is the strongest on paper. But also like I say, Bag and MK, it's their first time in a LAN event, I believe. So it's going to be a very different experience for them, and it really depends on how they deal with the occasion. Whereas Finn and Crooks have had LAN experience before. They had the EMEA, and Finn's had previous LAN experience before as well. So I feel like if you combine like guaranteed performance, I feel like Finn is probably going to give you a good guaranteed performance for a new player. And I feel like on paper, Bag has got so much potential on the day, and if he shows up, I think he'll be best out of the new bunch.
Best new player, and I think that would be Bag. He was too young for last year's competition, and he just turned 18. So I think he's probably the best. MK is another option. I mean, I think both of them are getting to the semi-finals. So yeah, I would have to say Bag, but MK is a close second for that.
For me, that's probably gonna be MK or Kirania. I put Kirania in the semi-finalists, so I think I'm gonna go with him. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's MK. Also, I mean, could also be a lot of other players, to be honest.
I don't know if it's really a hot take to say that nobody from Group B will make it into semifinals. Yeah, I think that is my hot take, even though it's not really hot, but there's another one coming as well, so we'll see.
For hot take, I don't really have much of a hot take, but I think I wasn't sure what to say, but I think I'm going to say that me myself could potentially, maybe hypothetically, win the World Cup. But yeah, I don't know. That's my hot take.
Okay, now my hot take is that Orlando advances out of Group B and goes to day 2. I feel like that's hot enough because Group B is, I think, overall the strongest, and Orlando is probably not in most people's predictions to win, but I feel like he has a really good chance of making it there. I feel like he's a really, really good player.
Okay, here's my hot take. I think that Topodic has showed up to last World Cup and EMEA saying that he was washed up, and I don't doubt he may say the same this time, but personally, I think that Topodic is not washed up. I think he may genuinely believe that, but yeah, I personally do not consider him washed up, and I dare say to be at the kind of level he was at, he had to have at least been practicing quite a bit. So that's my hot take.
I have a feeling that Crux is really going to show up on the first day. I have a feeling he's going to be up there amongst the best in this World Cup.
So my hot take is gonna be somebody who only got there through a last chance match, winning the whole thing. I can see it. Crux World Cup winner 2024. Heard it here first.
And then my really hot take is something about the tournament itself and not any of the players. I mean, it's hard to say, but I have a feeling that there's going to be a quote-unquote incident in the final where it's going to look quite rigged, but we'll see. That could be something like Monaco on round limit, or it could be something like Radu getting a Georgia lock, or Blinky getting a France lock to win the game, etc., or me getting a Russia lock if I make it that far. But yeah, it's not really a player-based hot take, but I think that the RNG will affect it.
What is my biggest hot take? For me, it would not surprise me to see all the regional champion players getting knocked out on the first day, because Topotic's in a very brutal group. He could one day finish first and another day finish fourth in that group. And similar thing with like Harrier and Gingy. One day they could just finish top and get to the finals day. Another day they might finish second or third and get knocked out in the qualifier stage. But I really want to see Topotic do well. He's a good friend of mine. I also both Gingy and Karania are legends in the community, and of course I want them to perform at the best and have a good time. But like I say, this World Cup, anything can happen, and that's one of the things that I could see potentially happening, especially with how tough the groups are.
My hotter take is that someone, even though I predict Blinky as the most probable winner, I think that it's more likely that a non-European wins the World Cup than that a European wins the World Cup, because I think a lot of the other top contenders are the non-Europeans. I think the average level of the non-Europeans is actually higher. We'll see.
Now to top it all off, what is my really hot take? And I decided to go for Zigzag winning more moving games than no move games. Yeah.
Peace.